So Supergirl's a pretty damn good little show, huh? Like, it's not a great show. I mean, if it was, they probably wouldn't have ended up having to move it to the CW, aka television's patron saint of pretty good TV. Not that being on a major network actually counts for much when it comes to genre series these days. I mean, holy shit, you ever watch Gotham? It's like somebody gave Dick Wolf a stack of shitty Batman comics and then a donkey kicked him in the back of the head. I know I'm supposed to couch this in some kind of backhanded irony, as if it only seems good because the Superman movies are just absolute garbage right now, or because Melissa Benoist's cute-to-hot ratio is balanced like a fucking Hattori Hanzo sword, but no, it's actually a good show. Granted, it probably doesn't hurt that it's by default the best thing anyone has done with a Superman-related license in live action since 1980. I mean, how much must it suck for Henry Cavill right now that he signed up to be Superman in what turned out to be two of the worst big movies of the last 20 years, and now he's stuck doing at least two more that, let's be honest guys, nobody actually expects to be any fucking good, and then this dude shows up for a 2-episode guest spot on a series whose production value's claim to fame is that it usually looks a little more expensive than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and basically flies rings around them. Now look, I'm not exactly giving away the secrets of the universe here by pointing out that the DC Extended Universe is thus far only good on television. I mean, if you start the clock at The Dark Knight Rises, which I promise you is somehow even more disappointing than you remember it being, there hasn't been a good DC Comics movie in like 5 years. That's a long time in the superhero genre. Hell, we've had 2.5 full Avengers movies since then, but this is really the first time in forever we've been able to compare a TV version and a movie version of the same property as contemporaries. Let's be clear, the show isn't really doing any straight-on version of any of the original comic versions of the concept. This isn't Golden Age Linda Danvers, it isn't Silver Age pre-crisis Kara, she isn't 80s Matrix Supergirl, she isn't 90s Peter David Earth Angel Supergirl, she isn't 2000s Apocalypse Supergirl, she isn't even whatever the hell her backstory is in the comics now. This Supergirl show is basically a Superman show with a gender-flipped lead. She's a reporter now, she's got a version of Perry White, she's got a female Luthor, she's got a version of Jimmy Olsen, she's got the actual Jimmy Olsen. Hell, even a lot of the major antagonists tend to be Superman foes. Bizarro, Metallo, Livewire, the Parasite, Cyborg Superman. So yeah, it's a Superman show, and it does the whole Superman routine so much better than the movies with seemingly so fewer resources, it's kind of embarrassing. So how are they pulling this off? Is there some special trick Supergirl's producers know that has somehow eluded Zack Snyder for 2 movies and counting? Well, I kind of think there is, sort of. See, here's the thing with superheroes. They're kind of dumb. Look, it's a genre I love. I hope Marvel makes 100 more movies before everybody loses interest. I wish DC would get their fucking act together so I could see even more, but they're dopey. There's not really any getting around it. It's built into the genre, just like it is for monster movies, kung fu movies, softcore sexploitation, cartoons, and a whole lot of other stuff I really enjoy. They wear silly little capes, they have ridiculous weapons, they give themselves goofy-ass nicknames, they put their initials on their head, they fight with bows and arrows in the 21st century. It's goofy stuff. And while that goofy stuff is exactly what you were paying for, comic book to comic book, what made the great comics great was the storytelling and the humanity of the characters when those things were present. Perfect example, when the X-Men were at their most popular and culturally significant, the action and the villains and the plot points were some of the most ridiculous shit ever. Remind me to tell you about the Starjammers sometime, or Krakoa, the Living Island, or Arcade. Hell, like half of the justly beloved Dark Phoenix saga was just an extended inside joke about an old BBC show. Yeah, the big cool badass moments were there, but the reason that shit stuck in people's heads was the drama, the romance, the heartbreak, even the occasional whimsy. Look, there's a reason there was enough gas in the pop culture tank for 10 and counting X-Men movies, but only one Spawn movie. And it's not because the movies have been overwhelmingly good. In fact, apart from these 3, Spawn was actually better than most of them. Not getting this is why Man of Steel and Suicide Squad were so uninspired, and why Batman v Superman was so bad I think it gave me a psychosomatic bowel obstruction. They don't care about the humanistic storytelling that can get an audience emotionally invested. Instead, they try to make you take all the sound and fury superhero bullshit seriously. Instead of giving Bruce Wayne a recognizably human journey we can empathize with, they want us to care about his stupid sequel teaser Darkseid nightmares. They give Lois Lane nothing to do because God forbid Superman or anything in his life become relatable or interesting, but then they expect us to get all wrapped up in the drama of Superman and Batman fighting because they've slathered a bunch of portentous pseudo-mythic gravitas all over it. This is what Supergirl, and to an extent the other CW DC shows most of the time, understand. Or maybe they just arrived at organically out of budgetary necessity, but whatever. You get your big dumb goofy superhero moments like Supergirl and the Guardian fighting the Parasite, and they generally deliver the goods, but the show doesn't expect that kind of thing to be the center of the story. It's just the punctuation, the fireworks. The center of the stories are relatable character-centric material, like Kara's sister coming out of the closet to her in that same episode. That's the stuff that sticks. See also, this is the same logic by which Marvel knows that nobody actually cares all that much about the goddamn Infinity Stones. It's just a way to keep track of all the other movies. People keep coming back to the Marvel stuff because the characters keep connecting. Now who knows if Supergirl can keep this pace up. As it is, they're burning through bad guys and reusable plot points from the Superman mythos at a surprisingly quick speed, but for now it's a fun series, and also an object lesson. If Warner Brothers wants these Justice League movies to stop being the laughingstocks of the blockbuster world, they could start by asking how they keep getting their lunch eaten by shit that runs on the same network that airs The Vampire Diaries.